Hello everyone, thank you for watching this video. This is StichRulez. I just wanted to talk about today's card that's going to be released in the upcoming days, and it's the Legend Magic card for Pot of Greed for Rush Duel format in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Well, as you know, there's another spell card that's kind of similar to this called Pot of Avarice, and which that card requires you to have multiple monster cards already in the graveyard, and that'll allow you to shuffle your cards from the graveyard into the deck and draw 2 cards. This card bypasses that, however, and you basically draw 2 cards, no downside at all, so you get a free +1. It's in the format we're in right now. It's a very interesting card. It's going to be free, so once it gets released, so you don't have to use your gems or any sort of monetary way to get this card. So it'll be basically free to play, which is a big plus. Now, I don't think certain decks won't really need to utilize this deck. Utilize the spell card. For example, if we look at like Voidfang, they rely on milling their cards constantly, and now that will, and Pot of Avarice is pretty much a better fit for that type of deck theme, because the deck constantly mills because of the Void Destruction skill. You're constantly milling, you're constantly recycling your resources, and you're just basically gaining advantages. And Pot of Avarice only expedites that strategy to its full potential. But the deck, the spell card itself, it's actually pretty good in some strategies. And in fact, Pot of Greed is probably better compared to Pot of Avarice. Just depends on your type of deck theme and your strategy. For instance, let's say you're using Royal Rebels and the skill requires you to have multiple high-level monsters in order for you to special summon it from your hand onto the field. Well, technically place, so not special summon. This Pot of Greed will be better in those cases because you want to see as many as your Royal Rebel cards in your hand, and for Royal Rebels is kind of slow. It's kind of slow, so Pot of Greed will actually thrive in that type of deck because you really want to have a faster method to seeing your resources quickly, as opposed to Pot of Avarice. You're gonna you need cards already milled into the graveyard to recycle it, and Royal Rebels skill has nothing to do with milling at all. From the deck into the graveyard. So Pot of Greed will actually be a better fit for, in my opinion, compared to Pot of Avarice. And we look at other examples, like say, like Galaxy. You want to see your secret orders. You want to see your high level monsters as quickly as possible. The Galactical Order skill does help a lot with being able to discard and then get a free card, basically. But Pot of Greed is arguably could be more useful than Pot of Avarice, and you can just, again, you see your resources quicker from that free +1. You don't have to worry about having multiple monsters from turn 1 to turn 2 into the graveyard to use Pot of Avarice. Pot of Greed is just going to be able to give you that free +1 and be able to see your high-level monsters quicker. And I think this is also a better fit for Metarion. Metarion, number one main weakness for Metarion is their fusion. If you can't see their fusion cards, the spell card fusion, they're going to lose the game. They solely rely on that card so much that if you can beat them before they get to that spell card, or they don't see it at all, they're not going to win because they just don't have a high level attack monsters in their deck that allow them to overcome them. And I'm sure statistically, if you look at comparisons into the games that they play, um, they'll lose a lot more games compared to utilizing their fusion card compared to not utilizing their fusion card. So Pot of Greed, I think, is going to be a huge boost to their consistency value, being able to +1 they're going to see their fusion spell card a lot more frequently, and yeah. So I think Metarion's going to get a huge boost on that. Royal Rebels will get a huge boost on that. Psychics don't really need to rely on Pot of Greed because, again, they have multiple ways to see their cards, just like Volveg. So I don't think they benefit too much, but there's a lot of decks like that, like Metarion, Cyber Dragons actually too, like Galaxy, Royal Rebels, as we just discussed. They're going to want to see key cards in their deck more as quickly as possible, and I think the Pot of Greed is going to be a great addition to at least consider deck testing and seeing how well you see your cards more frequently with Pot of Greed as opposed to using other cards like Pot of Avarice. Yeah, this spell card is going to be seen competitive play for sure in some decks, not all decks, because again, it just depends on your deck strategy and how your deck operates and whether or not you want to see specific cards or you rely more on milling. It really just depends on your strategy and how you're going to go about executing it so you see that strategy more consistently, whether it's using Pot of Greed or other means. But I think, again, this is going to see some competitive play, definitely in tournaments, and we'll see how effective it is in top deck lists in the foreseeable future. So, thank you for watching this video, and take care and happy holidays, everyone. Bye bye.